Good evening, everyone. My name is Josie Burton. This is Zoya Abbas, Griffin Gardner, and Lon Khan, and we're here today to talk to you about Methane Hub. So, we're at a really unique place right now in the world, particularly because platforms all across internationally are becoming more accessible. And there's a gap where people situated lowest economically are now allowed to have more access that they weren't able to have before. So, and yet we know that this access is only open for a relatively short period of time. So Methane Hub has decided to act on this access and try to solve one of the biggest problems that each and every one of us on the team has experienced: indoor air pollution. Okay, so I'm going to draw what I call the indoor air pollution bubble. We've got 4.3 million people every year that are losing their lives prematurely due to indoor air pollution. That's the direct result of 3 billion people that are using solid fuels in their home for cooking. And if you look at the global population of 7.6 billion people, that puts into a really interesting perspective, because this 3 billion is about 2/5 of the total global population. So obviously this problem, the world isn't ignoring this, and this problem is pretty big. In the span of the last 5 months, to get an idea of how big this problem has gotten, National Geographic has had 2 cover stories on open defecation and problems with cooking fuels inside the home. So people have tried to solve this problem in various ways. As you can see up here, there's briquettes, and the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves has provided many models that they rely on different systems to implement. The problems with these systems is that they aren't scalable and they aren't sustainable because it relies on a donation-based model. A fundamental problem in the energy sector requires a fundamental solution. So our process is relatively simple. We take waste from septic tanks that are essentially just dumping that waste in the oceans and the rivers to where they're implementing, and we put them directly into our digesters located in villages and cities throughout, at the starting point throughout Haiti. So to give you an idea of how that works, the microbes in the digester slowly break down the waste in the span of 40 days, and you get fertilizer and gas as a result. The gas can be capped, and we keep it in storage in a biogas container. When we have the demand for our product, we compress the gas and we cap it into portable stoves. And we lease the portable stoves and tanks in a lease-to-own system. So the stoves and the tanks together are sold in the local kiosks, and people use them in the home and are able to cook, and the process continues.
So we have a really flexible model, which means we can adapt to our surroundings. We're going to be placing digesters and kiosks in all of our targeted villages and cities. So the kiosk is going to act as a distribution point in our villages. People are going to come up to the kiosk, and we can lease out stoves, tanks, and provide them with refills. We're going to use a similar system within the city. However, in addition, customers will be able to register for our delivery services. They're going to come up to the kiosk, give us some information like their identification. They're going to tell us their address, and as a result, Methane Hub delivery trucks can come up to their houses, and the customers can trade in their empty tanks for filled ones. Customers can also register for if they want a monthly service, if they want a daily service, or they can pay upfront, they can pay in installments. So it's pretty flexible. We believe that convenience is a really important selling point for businesses today, and that is why we intend to capitalize on it. So for our SWOT analysis, we are going to be focusing on a scalable model. This model is going to be sustainable, it's going to be aligned with the culture, and it's really environmental friendly. We're going to be overcoming weaknesses such as social bias, lack of infrastructure, and on-site exposure. The whole idea is to avail opportunities like entering the niche of the market, building customer base, and creating jobs within the community. What we have to do is avoid problems such as political instability, lack of regulation, and flooding of the market.
So taking a look at the specific models that we're implementing, we've got the portable tank on your left, And this is essentially, it's very similar to a propane tank. The only thing with biogas is it's liquid, it's gas, not liquid. So we still have the same amount of, it's the same idea, but we're compressing it with a new innovative method. So in the biogas stove on the right here is through a company called Hult, and we're working closely with them to get the model in Haiti at the right time that we need it. The biogas model is portable, so it can be adaptive to the different conditions in which we're operating, particularly with lower infrastructure accountability. And in particular in the digester, so this is more of a image or a visual representation of the 40-day period. The waste goes into the digester, and through the natural process, the gas in the fertilizer rises to the top, which we will be able to collect. It's 100% natural and requires little regulation.
Okay, so as we've explained the model, I'd like to examine the fertilizer market. So the fertilizer is our byproduct, and the great thing about this is the fertilizer won't smell as we thought it would be, because through the bioinhalation, through the biogas formation process, the smell would be eliminated. To sell to farmers, we decided to make sure that it has the perfect concentration to be used. It'll then be sold at $3.08 per 23 kilograms bags. So, who are our customers? We plan on focusing on rural Haiti communities and afterward expand our business to larger cities and markets. Our initial customers will be women and girls, as well as local farmers and gardeners. Our target customers do not have social media, so to reach out to them, we decided the best way would be through word of mouth and door-to-door, as well as newspaper ads and mural paintings. As we expand our business, we'll decrease these tactics and replace them with larger scale marketing through gas trucks and billboards. So I'd like to expand on our team skill set. Josie Byrne is our CEO, who has helped establish the market in Port-au-Prince, and who has the knowledge of scientific process and cultural implications needed to make sure that Methane Hub will succeed. Ruth Vin, our CFO, is a finance and econ major at Earlham. He has experience in programming and financing a social enterprise for teenage mothers in Costa Rica. Zoya Abbas is our COO, has intensive experience with working with rural communities. She previously won a national competition, business competition in Pakistan in 2015. And I have been doing marketing work for 3 years. And I was also the main marketing member for Project Apogee's winner, I for Inclusion.
So now to our financials. Currently, Haitians are paying 44 cents to $1 per meal's worth of charcoal. Methane Hub will be charging 30 cents per meal's worth of biogas fill-up. So we got to this charge by charging 20%, 20 cents per methane fill-up, 5 cents per tank lease, and also 5 cents per the stove lease. This will cause Haitians to save approximately 14 to 70 cents per biogas fill-up a day. This model is also, we believe, very adjustable to different developing economies, as we can adjust the prices to also cover our costs while remaining self-sustainable. At the end of the year, we'll be calculating our growth by doing the inventory turnover ratio, which tells us how many units we've sold and replenished for the year, and also a sales percent sales growth. So to our startup expenses, I'd like to direct your attention specifically towards the opening inventory and our working capital and our total expenses. So our total expenses is actually something that's really controllable based on the amount of units we're selling and our location. So for the total expenses in year one, in all the regions that we believe we'll be covering, we expect about 850,000. But that's because we're expecting over 25,000 units to be sold at the end of the year. So with our sales.
So with regards to our impact, we have the potential to transform billions of lives. Currently in Haiti, we are going to start our projects, we're going to get some more information, and then we're going to expand. countries like Haiti, Tanzania, and Pakistan all suffer from a similar problem which can be cured with methane. We've come so far and we can go further, so why shouldn't we? Thank you.
Judges, what's the relationship between the input and the output in terms of, does one village waste equal all the cooking, all the methane that village would need, or is it 2 to 1 or 1 to 5, or?
So that's actually a problem that we encountered pretty early on, was trying to measure the ratio of input to output, especially if we wanted to try to get the waste from one village equal in regards to how much gas we're trying to get and fertilizer. So that's why we redesigned our model to be directly accessing the septic tank trucks. So this way, we'll be able to get the amount of waste that we need per day, and we're taking away. We personally are taking away from the cost that the septic tank driver and owner has to pay for the waste itself to discharge it into the lake, into lakes or rivers. So in lower economic countries, every single one that we've looked into, India, Pakistan, Haiti, and Tanzania and Kenya, actually all 5 of those, we were recognizing that was the one way that we were able to tap directly into the sources that we needed.
Let me just quickly expand on that. So we'll have 1 digester, 1 kiosk in a village, and we're going to make sure that the ratio works in such a way that we'll take all the material we need through the trucks, and that material is going to be enough to provide us with enough gas to supply the entire village. Each tank is going to be for like 1 household, so that's kind of like how we're proportioning it to make sure that we have enough supply to power the entire region that digester is meant for.
How much of that is a digester? Because you have 35,000 on your capital costs startup.
Yeah.
How many digesters?
Based on when we contacted Hoopson, there are different digester models. So ours is like so there's an industrial digester, but for the startup, we wanted to do something in between where you can basically use it within the village. And the cost of that one was $4,800, close to $5,000. So if you use 1 per village to suit them, then yeah, I mean, you can control it based on how much villages you go to. If you move to a city, then the industrial one is far larger and yeah, it's a lot more expensive.
So just expanding on that just a little bit, the startup expenses were to deliver to customers, 25,000 customers, is that correct?
Yeah, so basically it was based on the unit, so we're ordering the tanks and the stoves also from Hoopson, and those are 25,000 units. So
Okay.
yeah, you're
And there's
hoping
1 unit per customer?
per customer, 1 unit of tank, 1 unit of stove per customer, but the tank is, you can bring it back and forth
Right.
for it to be refilled for their use.
So I just want to make sure I understand you. 1 digester would be enough capacity to handle the 25,000
So,
units?
yeah, so basically what we did was, so the place we're targeting right now is called Leogon. We're actually going there in December, kind of like work out the science of everything. We also got a digester on campus just to make sure that we have all the ratios and everything right. So what we're doing is that digester will be enough for like 25,000 people. The point is, how much do you supply the digester? We will order a digester that will cater to that specific amount. And you can also attach digesters together, so we're not really too much worried about whether it's going to be enough.
And on top of that, within those capital expenditures, there's also a holding container that's included within there, and that stores gas which comes with the digester. It's part of the cost of the digester, so you can store gas for a particular period after it has filled up to the top, which you can be used later.
Cultural question again, you're moving from wood, using wood primarily as a cooking method to natural gas, or to biogas. What are the issues there?
So, I mean, are you asking what are the issues with using wood, or what are the issues?
No, what are the issues that means that in the end you're going to have people who are happy to use now biogas that they're not used to?
Right, so basically, in a lot of countries, like Pakistan and etc., they're pretty familiar with using gas for cooking and heating. So with regards to Haiti, they have coal and wood. The reason why they're not using gas is because it's too expensive. So basically for people, if you offer them a cheaper, cleaner alternative, they're basically bound to take it. Our product is a lot cheaper than coal and wood, and basically that's what we're trying to go for.
What were your sources of waste?
Um,
It's kind of building on what Scott had asked.
Right, so for our waste, what we're going to use, not only are we going to use waste, but we can also use compost. Basically, in such regions, there's like a lot of like extra material that's lying around, peels and etc., these sort of things. We can also use that. But for waste, what we're going to do is that in Haiti and other countries, there's like these trucks that carry all the sewage and waste. Those trucks go to different places. Sometimes they throw them in rivers. Sometimes they have a landfill that they can throw it in. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take those trucks and we're going to work with basically whoever's in charge, and then we're going to make sure that the truck deposits like however much we need into the digester.
But no livestock?
I mean, if we partner,
Waste
so
and livestock.
we were actually thinking about that since we're partnering with farmers and everything, we might as well also like kind of like pay them to give us some of the waste material from livestock and everything. But just, we didn't want to say that in case we want to get down the specifics of it. But yeah, like we have like a bunch of ideas of where we want to get the material from.
So just to reiterate real fast, it's human waste, it's sewage that we're directly accessing. And that's the septic tanks that I was talking about earlier directly collect the sewage from latrines, and it takes manual labor to do that. So unfortunately, there's no process that's simplified to use manual labor to take it out of the latrines, and so that's directly loaded into the septic tank, to which they transport it to the end source. Yeah.
Any other questions, judges?
We thought all four groups did a great job, and then you worked in certain areas. And I think all of you need to make sure that you continue to work on your financials. And when someone asks you a financial-oriented question, that you know the answer, or you have a slide or whatever that explains, and just the financial modeling in terms of 1 unit of Mashinani works like this. 1 unit of Methane Hub works like this. If you're going to do a Buzz Tech, here's how much we make, how much it costs us, here's how much you can sell it for. And so show us in individual models, and then we can scale it up from there. The other is, like with Mashinani, it's kind of complex. And so we just need more detailed explanation of how it works, or the logistics, as well as with Methane Hub. This could be
It's very
complex.
complex, yes.
You guys, obviously been working on this for a while, so you've done a lot of good things. We feel like you still have to work out that economic model of how much waste comes in versus how much goes out, and then do we need one of those for our town or 40? And then what's the economics behind that? And I think that's something that engineering people go right to that. When they start asking those kinds of questions, even non-engineering people go to that and think, what's the money side of that? I think your presentation was good, but I think you're burying the lead as far as the problems that you really solve. One problem that you really solve is indoor air pollution, which you did that, but I think that's a visceral thing. If you said, I'm going to cook a dinner right for us for dinner, and I'll cook it right here on this table, and you pretend like you were going to light up a bag of charcoal, everybody would instantly understand what a problem indoor air pollution was. And if you said, wait a minute, I got to go walk 4 miles to get dinner, I'll be back in about an hour and a half. Can you guys wait? We understand now that how far that you have to walk to get that, and what a hassle that is. So I would lead with, these are the big problems, and then the third one was the sanitation. And oh, by the way, I'm going to take all of our waste and throw it in the river on the way. Maybe we'll get you solve a very visceral problem. And if you can convey that in a visceral way, they're there immediately with you to say, yes, I hate that, I would hate to do that, and that's kind of yucky. So So how do we solve all these problems? And then after that, we're all hooked, because you just told us all these problems that none of us would like to have. I thought you, so I mean, beyond that, I think everything else was, anything else you guys want to add to that?
Well, just that you've got a really complex issue. So you need to figure out ways to make it simple to explain, knowing that it's complex in the end.
And understanding your capital costs, and you really understanding all, because you guys do have a big capital, you know, with the digesters, the tanks, the stoves, so really understanding what that true cost is, what you're really going to be able to use them for.
If it's super simple, emphasize how super simple it is. Because in the room, we all went, I don't think they can get it done for that. Or you don't want us thinking that.
Yeah, what we were thinking was $5,000 for the digester, right, servicing 25,000 customers. And that intuitively,
We think it's a disconnect.
without seeing that capacity analysis, it's challenging for us to tie the investment.
See if I have big equipment at work all the time. So he knows how big equipment, what it costs and what it takes to run it. I think you guys have some weird stuff in your financials you can look at as well. Like you have a lot of in-freight, I think, on your, like, and you have,
Yeah, that was,
that seems really high.
It's very expensive. We're trying to find, like, in-source it rather than outsource it, but because we're trying to, our initial model is based on Fuxin, we have to import a lot of that stuff, like.
Fuxin
gas,
is, what is that, is that Japanese or was it
Chinese.
Chinese.
But there's somebody that could help you solve that problem. That's a huge number that you had. And then there's another number down there that was really big, insurance or something. That's $112,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
So get with somebody that can kind of work you through those and challenge you on those numbers. But I think all of you guys have a really good basis, but at any level, someone's going to pick you apart on your numbers. And if you don't, go watch Shark Tank and watch when they don't know their numbers and watch what happens. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
And so you have to know, you guys have to know what it costs to make one, what are you going to sell it for, how much the batteries cost, all